Hi, everyone. Welcome to The Hydrant. Yeah, you know who's here. It's just like, Corey Dissin is with me, and Corey, of course, is the marketing guru. He's a coach. He's a mentor. We can now add author to that whole thing. Oh, look there, he's prepared. He's got it, and we're going to talk about the book here. But as the granddaddy of Go Get It Nation, I'm happy to have Corey back on the show to talk about the book and anything else that happens to come up, because who the hell knows what's going to happen. So, and I also consider him a good friend. So, dude, it is great to have you on the show.
Big dog, my man. So excited to see you, to speak with you, to spend this part of my day with you. And like I told you earlier before we went live here, is that I thank you for allowing me to jump on with you, man.
It's my pleasure. And there, of course, would be no big dog if it weren't for Corey and some of the work we did up front. And it's just like that whole brain trust got together and came up with the whole concept of the big dog and the hydrant. So
look at what you did. Look at what you did.
Little did I know it would drive me around the bend, but it's okay. It's good. So
stellar job. Very proud. Every time I see you pop a new episode up, I just think of the humble beginnings.
It was definitely humble beginnings. So, well, the new book, Going the Diss-tance, 10 rounds to a championship life and career, life lessons inside a tribute wrapped in a memoir and all sorts of stuff, is now out and available everywhere, where you can get the actual book, you can get a Kindle version, whatever you want to do.
Yes, sir.
What triggered this?
Ooh, I mean, it had been gnawing at me for many years. I knew this was kind of the missing piece in my entrepreneurial venture, given all the different ways that I promoted myself and built the business. And so that was one, inspiration, one North Star for me, was to get this missing piece in there. But when you look at your life from 30,000 feet, you have fond memories of certain people that pushed you along, nudged you, challenged you, gave you advice. And I started to take inventory of that. And I said, there's a book here. I didn't know how I was going to get there yet, because my list really started with probably about 30 people. I wanted to, acknowledge. And as you start to kind of think about how this person impacted your life, these 10 people that we mentioned in the book specifically, there was just one story after the next, after the next, after the next. And it was a very tough decision, but inevitably I wanted to be able to tell these people, a couple of which aren't alive anymore, unfortunately, but I got a chance to tell people related to them, thank you. I mean, people see, the fist bumps and the client success stories, and I'm living in Southern California and my kids are doing well, all of this success and happiness. I just wanted to let them know and let the world know I didn't just snap my fingers, man. There was a lot that went into this. And had I not bumped into these people, had they, not, advised me or directed me, I'm not sitting here, and I'm not being able to, pass on what I've learned. And that's the last piece. I wanted to pass on what I learned to someone else so they could use it.
Right.
And those are the big reasons.
And, it surprised me a little bit, because I picked up the book and I was like, okay, he's going to talk about all the marketing stuff. But once I started reading, I was like, oh, this is a different direction. And it's just like, this is really cool. And I get it. It's just like, these are the people you want to recognize and that have such a big impact on your life, as you have had on so many countless people, particularly in the voiceover industry. The impact of all the marketing and the cheerleading and the coaching. It's been, it's been wild. And of course, we're all pretty much sick to death of seeing you in the gym, so it's no surprise that it's just like, it's just like,
Wait, do I
okay.
do that? Do I post videos of me working out? Let me think about that.
That could be a new marketing thing for you.
You know what though, Jim? It's I get people, I bump into people all the time, obviously, because what I'm doing for a living, and they see what's on the front of the stage. Okay. They see the workout videos. They see the in your face branding and all that stuff, which is all authentic. It's all me. You know me for a long time. What you see is what you get. But I wanted to pull the curtain back a little bit. And, there's a little more to it. I mean, and, what I like to say is these are the people that made me, and the lessons that I learned from them can help make you, you.
Right. And, the whole motif of the book which is making a correlation between boxing, which has been big in your life.
Yes, sir.
And how your life has gone thus far. It's just a natural connection there. And I love the way you've set that all up. I do have to say, I was reading through it. I'm reading through the dedication, and I was like, Elaine's not in the dedication. Why is she not in the dedication? And then I got down to the contents. I was like, oh, she's got her own chapter. Okay, fine.
Yes. Well, and believe me, I thought all that through because there were different variations, but I made sure to save the best for last.
Absolutely. She's the last chapter.
She's the last chapter. And on a personal note, the dedication, there's a little bit of talk about legacy in the book.
Yes.
And I wanted my legacy. I wanted my two boys to be able to, they didn't get a chance to grow up with me. Some of the things in the book they were around for, different things, but there was a lot of stuff that happened that they might have half paid attention to at a Thanksgiving dinner, and they, I wanted to have a record of to say, hey, look, this is what happened to your old man. This is what you need to know, and take it with you. Literally take it with you. Like they each have a copy, and hopefully, it doesn't end up in the bottom of a cardboard box in an attic anytime soon. We'll hopefully they'll hang on to it.
Leveling the sofa on that one short leg.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. My kids, they would do that for sure.
And, your boys are the shining example. I mean, we've all watched Jordan's progression through the baseball ranks and how cool is all that, and you have drawn a lot of inspiration, and the person you have become, I'm guessing, is attributed a lot to your mom and dad.
Without question.
Yeah.
I mean, without question, and even though I only got one of them left, I still do what I do because I want both of them to be proud of, what their youngest is doing.
And I can't imagine. I can't imagine how proud Pops must be to just see what you've done and see the book come out. I mean, he's got to be busting some buttons on his vest. That's just no question about that.
Can barely complete a sentence without getting choked up.
Cool. Well, that's the whole point of the.
And I say that in reverence. I mean, I love the man, and he's flying solo now, which really sucks. And so we're even that much closer now.
Sure.
We joke in that he's my third son now. And he runs things by me. I'm helping him because he used to have, mom to be his sounding board and second opinion. But, and when I sent him the book as a surprise like I said, it was a very emotional.
So he didn't know that you were doing this.
Nope. I told no one.
Oh, wow.
No one knew. I mean, Elaine knew. That's it. It was Elaine, my publisher, and one other person, which was the gentleman who I trained with, who was getting me in shape for the cover shots. And he had to know why, because we were getting pictures taken in his facility. And so those are the only people that knew. And that was another kind of lesson that I haven't really expanded upon yet to the world. But there are a lot of folks out there that I'm going to do this. Talk. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. Then I'm going to do that. And get ready. I'm getting ready to do this. And and then it never happens. And I wanted to show everyone, because I'm a big fan of leading by example.
Right.
That keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, get the work done, then talk about it. And don't tell me you don't have time.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, because I wrote a book with 13 rounds of revisions, didn't say a word about it to anybody, and still did all of the things that not only that you saw in my social media, that I document a lot of my life on social media, but there was tons of things I was doing beyond that.
Right.
And still we got to get it done. So it's like when I talk on the phone with someone, and this hopefully will get a chuckle out of you, and they can't follow 5 people on LinkedIn each day. I want to rip my ears off. Anyway.
You know, and I think back to the early days when you and I just started, and I had, I don't know, maybe 30 people connected on LinkedIn. And, you know, we started down that road of connecting people. And I'm like, oh, there's no way I'm going to get, you know, these kind of numbers on LinkedIn. But you do a little bit every day, and you just keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And, you know, I'm proud to say I'm in that 500 plus category of connections, and way beyond that. And it's just like, it's, you know, oh shit, Corey was right. How about that? Something new and different. Just got to listen to him and do it.
All
like
acorns
you said.
grow big oaks, brother. And that's a big theme of the book too. You know, it's a step-by-step effort with anything. You'll build on it. You get the compound interest, and you'll win in the end. You just got to stick it out.
So now that this is out, what's next? I mean, you obviously Go Get It Nation is alive and well, and you keep seeing people, you know, putting posts up all the time about, you know, Corey Dissin and Go Get It Nation, and people are very proud, as I am, to be part of that whole deal.
Thank you.
You know, you've done a lot of the online live stuff. That what was the name of that? I forget the name of that. You're doing that every week.
Well, I had a couple shows. I had Discipline.
That's the one I was thinking.
And I had one more round too. That was
Right.
the interview show.
Right. You know, you've shown the way to a lot of people on how to do this and how to do it well to get results, not just how to do it, follow me. It's just how to do it, how to get results.
Sure.
Where's the next stop on the Dissin train?
Well, I mean, look, I have to say out loud, not just because it's true, but because she's on the other side of this room. If I pick one more project, I might be coming out to Delaware to live with you, pal. That's the first thing. You know, honestly, I don't. I mean, this. I am enjoying the QTL. We've mentioned that before. QTL, quality time left. And, you know, we're hopping back and forth to Florida to watch the kid play ball. And who knows, that hopefully that takes us to the Northeast, God willing, in a year or two.
I'm expecting seats to the Skybox to see a Phillies game. So.
My friend, you and I will be sharing a very expensive beer and a very expensive hot dog one day to watch that young man play baseball. Mark my words. And I'm buying.
Awesome.
But, you know, it sounds kind of crazy, but I'm really at the point now where my goal is to do less.
Gotcha.
I'm like, this was the star on the tree. I mean, this was the culmination. I mean, I literally put my life in a book. I mean, not to say that I'm done living. I hope I'm not even at halftime yet. We'll see. Um, but professionally, as there's still people out there that I believe I can help. Business is good. Thank the good Lord. The design business is rocking, which is key. I'm bringing on more and more people, not just, I mean, the voiceover is a steady thing. Starting to get a lot more people out of the voiceover industry,
Good.
which is cool. I enjoy that. It keeps me sharp, keeps me fresh. But I mean, I'll tell you straight up. I mean, at the time when you and I were working together, I was probably doing 20 to 25 coaching calls a week.
Mm.
Now I might do 5 coaching calls in a week. I've really pulled it back. I'm happy that the refrigerator's full, the rent's paid, and there's gas in the car. And I have enough money to fly back and forth on occasion, like I said, to see family. We're heading out a couple weeks, not just to Florida, but we're going to go to Philly to see my dad and my older boy. I'm good with that. I honestly, Elaine and I are just whooping it up here, having a good time. 10 minutes from the beach. We have friends here. I'm blessed, man. We got a really good thing going, and I don't want to touch the air around that right now. I'm good.
But that is the name of the game. And I've talked to so many people and even just in the voiceover industry, there's that level of people that have been doing this a long, 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 long time, and they're starting to think about retirement. And it's like, I just want to pull back a little bit. I want to be able to have the life, get that work-life balance going, because you come into this and you're just inundated and you want to do 24/7, and it gets crazy. You can make yourself crazy and burn yourself out in a flash. So I get it, and it's great that you are able to do that. And I understand Elaine is there, and she's not about to let you leave Southern California, because
No way.
she
There's
is not
no
going to let
way.
you do that. So she has found her element. So
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, look, I'll say this. Obviously, I am a champion for hard work, sweat equity. You know,
right.
giving it all you got, 24/7. I don't want to take away from that, because believe me, that nothing happens without doing that first.
Mm-hmm.
But after doing it for over 30 years, um, I'm at the point now. A quick rewind. One of the guys we mentioned in the book is Paul Turner. You know,
Yes.
voice of the Howard Stern Show, NFL Films, CNN. I can go on and on and on. Instrumental in my career and my life. He's a good friend of mine. I was in his wedding. He was in mine. I can go on and on and on. And at one point, I worked for him for over a decade, and then I ran his production company. He sold the business. I stayed with the production company, and Paul and I obviously remained friends. But, several years after he sold the business, he actually hired me to help him with his marketing. And we did that. We did a logo, we did website, we tinkered around on social, all the things that, that you got a chance to partake in. And then after, 6 to 9 months of that, he kind of said to me, he goes, Core Man, he called me Core Man in that big, deep voice, Core Man, this has all been great. It's very helpful. Obviously the branding stuff is going to, have a long shelf life. He said, but I'm just happy to play golf every few days, man. He said, because he started even younger than me. He was in a professional radio 14 years old, and he's 5 years older than me.
Wow.
And he's like, man, I just want to watch my kids play soccer and play golf. And, he lives in Florida now. And at the time he said that to me, I was like, what? Come on, man. We got to keep the hustle up. But now that I'm a little longer in the tooth, and there's a little more white in the beard, I get it. I get it, man. It's just family, experiencing life. It sounds very foo-foo, but it's important, man. But let's just be clear on what the order of operations are here. Hustle your butt off first for a sustained period of time. Grow your business, make your money, do all those things, and then, have an exit ramp. You got to have that exit
Right.
ramp. And I'm scooting up it right now.
Yeah. And that's a concept that is not talked about much until you get into the beginning of that ramp. You know, it's just like you don't even think about what do you mean having an exit strategy? And that's a big business term, having an exit strategy. But it doesn't apply just to business, it applies to life. And you know, when as you go along your journey, you know, having an exit strategy is pretty key because you don't even know if you're going to get to that exit strategy. And we all hope we do, but getting there with some thought of where that ramp is going to go is becomes important.
Well, let me make one crucial point, and I've said it in a different way previously in the conversation, but an exit strategy is not quitting. They're
Right.
not the same thing. Because I don't want people to hear this and go, wait a minute, Corey's telling me to go get it and, I'll put my butt off. Now he's telling me to quit. No,
To bail.
not saying that. You got to do the hard work first. Then you enjoy the spoils of your labor. And, I'll remind everyone, I got 30 years in the game. My big joke is if I was a cop, I'd have a gold watch and a pension, but I don't. So it's like, you got to hustle first, then enjoy it. But a lot of folks want to get that, all the benefits of being the CEO and the golden parachute without ever have boarding the plane.
And a lot of people hear that. I say a lot of people. I'm sure there are people that hear that and say, I got to do the hustle first. It's like, okay, I got to just put my head down and go for it. It doesn't matter what I'm doing or whether I like it or not. And to me, that's like, no, you've got to at least have some sort of heart in what you're doing
No
when
doubt.
you hustle, because if you
Yeah.
don't have the heart in it, it's not going to work.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
know,
look, hustle on behalf of someone else is just labor.
right.
When you hustle for yourself, we're talking about your life. You've got your life, your blood, your sweat, and your tears in it. It's not something you schedule. It's ingrained. It's woven into your life, and you make it that. You dedicate yourself to that until you can get to the point when you got the bills paid, or at least you got enough in the kitty to pay them down the road, and you can you know ease off the gas. I'm not a rich man, and I don't profess to be one. I live very modestly, but that's part of the exit plan, living modestly so I can live and enjoy life
Right.
modest.
Right. And rich is a relative term. I mean, you rich in terms of money. Yeah, maybe not, but are you rich in terms of the things that matter in life, family, friends, that kind of thing? I think you're one of the richest people on the planet. So that's one interpretation of it anyway. And the thought that struck me when we were talking about that is how big a switch. And I don't know if you've seen this in what you do, but it seems to me that with the pandemic, kind of tripped the wire and a lot of people to go, yeah, I don't want to labor anymore. I want to do what feeds my soul, and
I mean, the
have pulled
pandemic
back a
might
little.
have accelerated that a little bit for me, but
Okay.
those seeds were planted early. I knew probably in the mid 2000s, 05, 06, 07. I saw the writing on the wall with where my career was headed,
Right.
running someone else's company, and where my youngest son, what his trajectory was in his life. I knew those two things were going to intersect, and I couldn't be static. I couldn't do the same thing
Right.
that I was always doing. So I set that in motion. But what the ball peen hammer to the head moment for me was to write this book and to get moving and to get on with it is when my mom passed away.
Right.
It's like, what am I doing? What am I waiting for? And when to think that she was only 27 years older than I am now. And that's not a long time.
No, it's not.
And I'm like, you know what? And I could hear my mom in the back of my head going, what are you waiting for? Just go spend the money. Go do what you have to do. Get it done. And I said, and that's what I was like, boom, I'm going to take care of this. I'm going to write this book. I'm going to tell the story. I'm going to get on with my life because it sounds so trite. You get one at bat in this life, man. One.
Yep.
You better make the most of it. And do what feeds your soul. Do something, leave a mark. Leave a mark with your family, leave a mark with your clients, leave a mark with your friends, leave a mark to the world. Do something. I know, God forbid, if I get hit by a bus today, at least this thing is around, and they'll say, "Who is that crazy bald MFer? What's that all about?"
That guy looks like he's gonna explode at any moment. It's just like, and we've seen all the posts on social media, but it's something I think about. It's like, look, we're about as far away from 1975 right now as 1975 was away from 1925.
Oof.
And you think about that, and it's like, wow, time is plays games with your head like that. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
it happens like that. And if you don't pick up and run, if you don't get it done and go get it.
I mean, come on, man. I mean, we're making a little funny here, but
But
that's
it's
what it's
true.
all about. It's like, go get it. What are you
Yeah,
waiting for? Stop
right,
making excuses. Stop saying you can't or you don't have time or you can't afford it. Bullshit.
right.
Go do it now. Figure it out. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. You'll
Or
figure
that
it
you're
out.
too old and that, oh
Well,
God,
that's
I'm this
another thing
old.
too. Yeah.
It's just, it's like in the book. And again, I urge everyone to go out and get a copy of this because it's a cool book. Going the Distance, 10 Rounds to a Championship Life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Highlights 10 people in Corey's life. As you think about these 10 people, and I know you had a much larger list than this, but as you think of these 10 people, was there, and you just talked about it with your mom's passing really being a trigger to get this done. Out of these 10 people, was there a bigger trigger than the other 9? Because they're all triggers for you. Was there a bigger trigger for the within this 10 that really said to you, okay, this is the trajectory I'm going on?
Ooh, man. I mean, it's hard enough to narrow it down to the 10. Now you're asking me to narrow it down to one.
Yeah, and I'm not
Um,
doing it from a sense of who was more important than anybody else. I'm doing it from
right.
a sense of your experience, that had the impact of it was just a hair more eye-opening to you.
I guess I will say that it's very difficult to decide who that
Sure.
person or moment might be because all these people impacted me in such a profound way. But I can tell you from knowing this man since I'm 15 years old and that I've maintained a relationship with him for 35 years and he's had an involvement in my son's life is one of my high school baseball coaches, Greg Goodwin,
Mm,
who is in the book. He's labeled the principal. And, just, and I didn't know it at the time, but that lesson he taught me about self-sacrifice, it's
mhm.
everything that I preach. It's like, you got to be able to give up something to get something. And, you know, this is a man who not only was a very successful educator, administrator, athlete, he was a college athlete, coach, baseball scout, just every time I turn around, the man's much older now, but he's still speaking at some event where it benefits young African American baseball players, or
Mm,
his family has ties to the Tulsa massacre. So
mm.
he does a lot of speaking about that. This guy is like, Wayne's World. I'm not worthy. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the full package. and the fact that we swap Facebook comments or texts routinely, and he asks about my son, and he still calls me Diss. He doesn't call me Corey at all. I just love the guy, man. And my only regret is I only dedicated one chapter to him. I probably could have wrote a book just about
Just on him.
my life with him.
Sure.
But that's probably the best I can do on that question.
Yeah, no, that's and that's kind of what I was going for. And like I said, I wasn't trying to disenfranchise the importance of any of the other people, especially chapter 10.
Yeah, because Elaine's going to hit me in the head with a battery when I come out of
come after me, and it's going to be all over.
You're like, what the hell are you talking about?
What do you mean?
I guess I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. Thank you, Jim.
You can blame me. It's like this is all Cooper's fault. So is there going to be a book tour?
There is one virtually right now in progress. All of these little podcasts,
right,
and guest appearances and articles, and we're calling that the Going the Distance Media World Tour. I got several engagements in book now and being added on as we go. I'm bumping into people informally who have bought the book or who I'm meeting with and have the book, which is kind of cool. Sure. Some of that might be predicated on sales, quite honestly. I mean, if I didn't write the book to make money. That sounds odd.
Nope, I get it.
I mean, if I've obviously sold a bunch of books. I'm very happy about that. It's like, free money as far as I'm concerned, but I didn't write it for that. I wrote it to get the message out to, if I meet someone for the first time and I have an opportunity to make it an official business relationship, I can drop a copy of this to them and go, hey, learn a little bit more about me. And hopefully that, cements in the relationship. But like I said, the reason I wrote the book was because I wanted to thank these people out loud and, put in writing for the world to see just how I feel about them, so that there's no question. I literally put my money where my mouth is and put this book together because I wanted to say, hey guys, thank you.
Right. I get it, because after I wrote my first book, people would come up to me and say, how are sales going? And I'd be like, I don't care. My goal was to write this book. It was a personal goal to write and finish and publish the book.
Exactly.
If it sells, great. If it doesn't, I don't care. Just this is something I wanted to do. And
it's fun.
It's and two things about it people don't realize. One, it's fun, but it's grueling work.
Oh my God.
It takes, I remember writing chapters and at the end of the day being exhausted, and just like, because it does take the emotional investment to do it. And, so many people say, oh, I want to write and I'm going to be the next Stephen King or J.K. Rowling. I was like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
The chances of that happening, you got a better chance of winning the lottery, because you just got
13 rounds of edits for my book.
Oh,
I read the book I read the book probably a total of 15 times. Yep. I could probably start reciting it. I mean, it got to the point, quite frankly, before we published it and put it out, I was like, I'm sick of looking at it. It's like, yep. Okay, I know my mom is great. I love my coach. It's like, enough already. Let's get it done.
Right. Yeah.
But now that there's a cooling off period, it's fun to talk about and kind of say, okay, but yeah, you're right. There were many a day where it was just like, just for hours and hours. And then you write something, and you're like, X, go back, do it again. But it was definitely a learning experience. Now that I know how to do it, because there is a method to putting these books together. Now that I've been through it, if I ever decide to write another one, at least I'll know what to do.
Yeah, it is a learning experience. And, my first book took me 7 years, and it was just like over and over and over again. And, it started in one place and ended in another place. If you looked at my first draft and the final book, there's about 20% of the first draft in the final book. I mean, you just go over it and over it, and then you have other people go over it and over it and over it, and it's just like it is a long-term investment in time
No doubt.
and energy.
I can vouch.
Yeah, no, you know the deal. Anything else you want to say about the book itself before we wrap things up here?
I'll just say, look, it's an easy read, and I wrote it that way on purpose because, I was never a fan of reading very dry, boring material. I wanted it to be a book that I would read beyond it's my story. Just objectively, I want it to be a quick read, a fun read. It's got an interesting format. We don't call things chapters in the book. They're called rounds. Very much in the boxing theme. It's not the table of contents. It's the fight. It's not the acknowledgments. It's the ringside acknowledgments. There's a lot of pop culture references in the book, which not only are fun, but also help to identify where my head is at.
Right.
What I'm a fan of. So, I hope folks will give it a read. And obviously there's a takeaway in there that you have some life lessons that hopefully you can use and apply to your own life or journey.
Because this is the hydrant, and normally we ask all the bizarre questions at the end, but I've tortured you with that once already. So I'm not going to do that. But there is one question I'm going to pull out of my list that I think is appropriate to ask in thinking about this. And, who would play you in a movie about your book?
Well, as an adult, I mean, the safe bet is Dwayne Johnson
right.
or Vin Diesel. We can go either one of those guys. As a youngster, when I had a nice head of hair,
I understand that.
That's a little tougher. But, it probably is some unknown. But someone who's very handsome, I'm sure.
As you can tell, he's Mr. Humble as well. So.
There you go. It's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way. That's a great song, by the way.
Bring Elaine in, because we're gonna have to debate that question for a while. So.
Had to have fun with that. You just served that up to me. I had to take a shot, man.
God. So going the distance, 10 rounds to a championship life and career, life lessons inside a tribute wrapped in a memoir. It's out there. It's a great read. Go get it. It's not only is it just fun, it may help you along the way. So it's very inspirational, and Corey has been inspirational to so many people, particularly in the VO business. So it's just like it's a wonderful thing to have this, and we owe you a debt of gratitude as well for putting this out there, because like I said, you've helped so many people. So, and myself in that morass as well.
Well, so. Grets of Datitude are fine too, just for the record. So. Jim, I love you, man, and I appreciate you being part of not just our business family, but being a part of our family. That's what we consider you. And I'm rooting for you every step of the way. And I'll say it one more time. I'm just so fired up that you dedicated a little time in your day today to chat with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. And we'll see you again next time on The Hydrant. In the meantime, go get it. Go